We will be introducing the candidates for our City Council at large. We will be introducing the candidates for our City Council Ward 6 and Ward 3, as well as the School Council Committee at large and for District 3, which is our district. We've deliberately chosen these people because these are the people we can vote for. They're going to be on our ballot. So it's your opportunity as voters to make informed decisions, make sure that you ask the questions you need to ask to get to know whether these people can represent your interests. We will be inviting each candidate to make a 3-minute statement. Timekeepers will strictly enforce. They will hold up signs when you have a 1 minute, 30 seconds, and when you have to stop. Because we have a lot to go through, so we want you to ask that you please respect the time limits. First, I will introduce everyone in alphabetical order, and then they will speak in a randomly chosen, I chose randomly before order so that we try to be fair to everybody. After the 3-minute introduction, we will then address 2 questions prepared by our committee to first the school committee candidates and then to the city councilors. And then you will have a minute to answer those questions. Afterwards, we will have an opportunity for people to address your own questions to our candidates. We will have school committee questions on one side and the city council questions on the other side, so you can line up at the microphones. And at this point, I would like to introduce, and they will be in alphabetical order, our city council at large candidates, and please correct me if I am mispronouncing. Nicole Coakley, Curran, Jose Delgado, Justin Hurst, Latorre, Walsh, and Tracy Whitfield. Our candidate for Ward 3 City Council, Melvin Edwards. And our candidate for Ward 6, Mary Johnson. For school committee at large, we have, please correct me if I'm wrong, Latonia Naylor? She's not here yet, okay. That's it for the at-large candidates that are here. And then for School District 3, Christopher Collins and Rosa Valentin. So I'm going to ask you to take an opportunity to say a few words about yourself, tell us why you think we should vote for you, and pay attention to our timekeepers. And the first on my random roster is Justin Hurst.
Thank you so much to the Civic Association. Thank you so much to folk in Springfield. Always an honor and privilege to be here in front of you all. Primarily because it's our last forum. And typically when I've been on either the council or ran for mayor, this has always been our last forum. So certainly a relief. Let me see if I can adjust this just a little bit. So my name is Justin Hurst. I was born and raised here in the city of Springfield. Graduated from the Springfield Public Schools, went on to college at the University of Virginia, and I knew at an early age, because my parents had devoted their entire lives to giving back to the city of Springfield, that I wanted to come back. So immediately upon graduation, I came back and I taught high school English full-time, and then I went to law school part-time at Western New England at Western New England University School of Law, now Western New England College. And so I wanted to impact more individuals than just those 100 kids that I had in my classroom. So in 2013, I decided to run for city council. Was elected to city council in 2013, served 10 years on the council, In 2019 and 2020, I was elected president of the Springfield City Council. Just a couple years ago in 2023, I decided to throw my hat into the race for mayor. Unfortunately, I finished in second, but undeterred and wanting to continue to give back to the community I love, I am here before you today running for Springfield City Council at large. I am proud of my record. Throughout my time on the City Council, I started off focusing on the terraces in 2013, and if any of you all have seen me on social media, I am still hammering home the terraces. I am a firm believer that here in the City of Springfield, we need to get the little things right. And it starts with the little things and us having pride in our city to ensure that others will have pride in their city. So from the street lights, the fact that I can go from the bottom of State Street to the top of Boston Road, one of the most major traveled thoroughfares in the city of Springfield, and I can count close to 50 lights out, that is a problem. The fact that we are not maintaining our parks. Yes, we have beautiful Forest Park, but when you go into the inner cities, many of our parks that we have dumped money into, we haven't maintained those particular parks. And so I am going to be a vocal advocate for you all on the City Council, and I'm going to continue to fight for the residents of Springfield. So I hope that you all will consider me on November 4th. And I also want to, my wife sends her regards. She is on the school committee. She unfortunately could not be here this evening. So thank you all very much for attending. We have to ensure that we get more than 3.3% of the residents here in the city of Springfield out to vote come this November. So please encourage your neighborhood, your friends, your family members to come out and vote. Thank you.
Kateri Walsh.
Good evening. My name is Kateri Walsh. I'm a resident of Forest Park. I'm a neighbor. I'm a friend. It's so nice to see so many people that I know. And I want to congratulate Angela Park for the wonderful job that she has done into turning Faith Church into such a wonderful venue. I myself have been a past president of the City Council, a vice president. I've served on many committees. I currently am on the Government Relations Committee. I'm the chair of the Springfield Women's Commission. I'm on the Traffic Commission. And I am running. It's a very simple reason why I'm running. It's because I love the city of Springfield. This is where my husband and I, my late husband and I, have made our home just down the street. It's where we've raised our children. And I always wanted to get into public service, not politics, but public service, because I always thought it was the best way to help out your community. I was very fortunate to have role models in my own family. My grandparents were elected officials, and you may know that some of my family members have also been elected here in Springfield and in Hampden County. So getting into politics and helping out was very natural to me. And then I continued it after my children finished school here because I want to make Springfield the best place for people to live, work, and raise a family. I am dedicated to the city of Springfield. I love the city. I have a proven record. And I think the heart of being on the city council, sometimes it's the big issues, but I think a lot of it is quality of life issues. Being available, being accessible. And somebody in here, you might have called me because your lights are out, or your street didn't get plowed, or things like that that have impacted your quality of life didn't get done. And I have the ability, because of my relationships with people, to get those things done and help people out and make your life and everybody in Springfield a better place to live. So I hope you do consider me on November 4th. I would really appreciate your vote. It has been an honor to serve on the council. Thank you for coming out.
Nicole Coakley.
Hi, my name is Nicole Coakley. I was born here in the city of Springfield and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. I came back here in 1999 because I promised my mom once I graduated from high school, I would come back here to go to college, and I did just that. I got my associates in law enforcement from SCCC, my bachelor's from Cambridge College in Human Services, my master's in psychology and counseling from Cambridge College, and I'm currently pursuing my doctorate degree in business administration with a concentration in organizational leadership. And my dissertation is on women of color and political leadership and the effects of work-life balance. Not only am I done with all of those degrees, but I also hold my cosmetology license, and I'm also a medical assistant. And on top of that, I'm also my children's role model. So I am running right now because I am a mother. I'm not a seasoned politician. I am not here to say, I just need you to vote for me so I can get in the seat. I am here to tell you that I care about your needs, about your wants, and what needs to be done here in the city of Springfield. I am here because we need to be united. I am tired of the division within the Springfield community, and it's not okay. So we need somebody in office that's not afraid to say, guys, we gotta work together, because when you think about it, the only thing that we really do is bleed the color red. We are no different. We are all human. We have to make sure that we can support one another. And if we don't start now teaching everybody, our youth that are coming up after us are going to be lost within the city of Springfield. And that's because we didn't do our part. And I will not leave off this earth and not say that I did not do my part. So we all got to make sure that we are working together. That's why I'm running, to bring unity within the city of Springfield, because we all got to pay bills. We all got to put food on our table. We still have to go to work. So we all are fighting for the same needs and to beautify Springfield also. My name is Nicole Coakley. I am not ashamed of anything that I have been through in life, because my life is not perfect. I'm all about empowerment. And when we empower each other, we thrive together. So when you are not afraid to speak on things like that, you are doing a really good job. And on top of that, I'm your 2025 Western Mass Remarkable Woman. So I just recently came back from Hollywood. And when I win City Council at Large on November 4th, I'll be flying out on November 5th to go down to Miami to get my award for the 100 Women in Leadership. And that means I'm doing my job in the city of Springfield. So when you go to the polls on November 4th, and when your friends call you and your family members say, who should we vote for? You make sure Nicole Coakley is on your list, because I will not let you down.
Curran?
Thank you. My name is Curran, and I'm running for City Council again to fight for economic development issues. We have some major issues here in the city of Springfield that are very exciting. We have a new courthouse that potentially could be built here in the city, and that's over a $2 billion project. We have the opportunity to install new lighting in downtown that could be a game changer and help improve crime. And we also have the opportunity presented to us through COVID-19, through Microsoft Zoom and Microsoft Team platforms, to transform the city of Springfield as a remote work city. You know, unfortunately, we lost a portion of Mass Mutual. Unfortunately, we lost a portion of Smith & Wesson. We need to reinvent our city, and one way we can reinvent the city of Springfield is through remote work. And if I'm fortunate enough to earn your vote, I hope to have a subcommittee on remote work here in the city of Springfield, and hope to draw workers from Boston and New York to live in our community in neighborhoods such as Forest Park, and to work at their companies. So I'm excited about Springfield's future, and I believe there's a lot of reason to be hopeful, and I think technology is really going to pull us through. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here, and I appreciate the time to address this audience. Thank you.
Tracy Whitfield?
Good evening, my name is Tracy Whitfield. I'm the Vice President of the Springfield City Council. I want to thank the Forest Park Civic Association and all of you for being here with us today. I want to thank Focus Springfield for recording this and working hard for the city of Springfield and always keeping us informed. So I'm just going to tell you how I entered politics, and then I'm going to tell you my experiences and what I want to do for the city. So I entered politics because I first worked at City Hall. So I have my master's in accounting and taxation. My undergrad is in finance, and I worked in the finance department at City Hall. So as we are going through the budget cycle, and I'm learning about the budget and all of the opportunities that are offered in the city of Springfield, I'm like, I didn't know about them. And so if I didn't know about all the resources that the city have to offer, then a lot of people in the community don't know about the opportunities that the city have to offer. And so going through the budget process, I learned so much about what the city is doing well and what the city wasn't doing well as far as reducing our tax rate and our tax bracket. There's a lot of waste. There's a lot of raises that are unwarranted, that people just get because they know somebody, they're friendly with somebody. And there were a lot of resources that our community didn't know about as far as housing, free medical, what you can expect from DPW, what you can expect from Health and Human Services, and all the other departments, the library, senior centers. It was just so many resources that we didn't know about. And so I was taking these resources back to the community, into community meetings, and people were like, why don't we know about these things? Our city councilors are supposed to be telling us about these things. Somebody needs to run, somebody needs to run, somebody needs to run. And I was like, yeah, somebody needs to run. And they were like, who? And I was like, I don't know. Then I was like, I'll do it. And so I got a group of friends and families together, and I decided to run. I did not win the first time I was elected, and Tom Ash moved to work as the chief of staff for Mayor Sarno, and I moved up into the position, and I have won the seat ever since. Still hope I win again, hope you all vote for me. But in the time, I have noticed that we can do a lot better to attract young people and keep them here. They leave because they are looking for housing that's close to transit, that have vibrant communities, that's walkable, that is like, you know, clean and green, and there's just so many things that we can do to build our economy. We need to invest in our small businesses. There's not a lot of resources that pour back into our small businesses in the community. And so there's just a lot of things that we can look at. And I hope that as we go on with this panel discussion, that these questions come up so I can have more time to expand on those resources. Thank you.
Jose Delgado.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Jose Delgado. I am a first-term city councilor. I had the fortune of being elected 2 years ago for the first time. Some folks have mentioned that why they ran for city council. If you would have asked me 10 years ago, I would have never wanted to be on city council, or even 15 years ago. I didn't grow up in politics. I lived at home. I grew up with my mom, single mother, 5 kids, grew up on welfare, food stamps, you name it. But one of the things that I got taught was hard work and to make better of your situation, and I did that. I'm a Central High graduate. I went off to Westfield State College at the time, now university, where I was a first-generation college student. Later on, I ended up getting my master's in business administration, my MBA from UMass Eisenberg School of Management. I live in the city of Springfield, but my wife, who is an educator in the city, and my 2 kids, I have a 14-year-old son who does rowing. I was just talking about somebody rowing, and then my daughter, who is 10, going on 20. But if you would have asked me, 10, 15, 20 years ago, would I run, I would have told you no. But my story is a little different. I graduated in 2008 when the economy collapsed, and for those of you who know, the recession hit, a lot of people lost their jobs. I did everything right that society said you had to do. Go to school, get your degree. But I couldn't find a job. So much so that I had to volunteer for free, and I ended up doing AmeriCorps Vista in the city of Springfield. And through that experience with AmeriCorps Vista, I got involved in the community. I learned a lot of stuff, I met a lot of folks, and little by little, I began to get opportunities that usually don't happen for folks like me. I will say a small short story. I remember trying to apply in 2008 for a substitute teaching job, and I couldn't even get that. I remember handing in the application back when you actually hand in your application. I remember the gentleman telling me, we're not hiring, but we'll let you know. And that same night, I was at a graduation event for one of my friends, and there so happened to be a school committee person there, Mike Rogers, and my buddy tell him the story. And I told Mike the story, and he said, here's my resume, here's my email, send me your resume, and in 2 days, I get a call, can you come into orientation? And that upsets me still to this day, because if that was happening to me, how many other Springfield young people who are trying to do the right thing are not getting the opportunity they deserve? And so for me, that's why I run. I run to make sure that everybody in the city has an opportunity. I was grateful through my experiences that I got to work as a mayor aide for Mayor Sarno. I then ended up working for Governor Baker as his deputy chief of staff. And now I work for the Executive Office of Public Safety. But I'm running, not for me, but I'm running for everyone who doesn't have those opportunities. I'm running for my kids, I'm running for your families, and make sure that we all have opportunities. And in the last year and a half, I'm not going to be up here saying what I am going to do. In the last year and a half, I've done a number of things. I've pushed passing a skills-based hiring, making sure folks do get opportunities. I pushed and passed a resolution with the support of my colleagues that we put cameras on the outside of school buses to catch those folks who are not stopping for the school buses when our children get on. I've also pushed on the audit committee to make sure that we're looking at efficiencies within our government. I've also pushed to make sure that we cut back on the budget to make sure that we're not continuing raising taxes on you guys and making sure that we're being efficient with that and their time. So thank you. I hope you guys can see me.
Latorre.
Good evening. Thank you everyone so much for being here tonight. It's great to see a huge crowd like this engaged in civics. My name is Juan Latorre. It's a pleasure to be here in Forest Park. Although I grew up in East Forest Park and I live in 16 acres today, Forest Park has always had a very special place in my heart. When I was 13 years old and attending Boy Scouts at St. Barnabas and All Saints Church, my first volunteer opportunity in the city to earn a rank was to be a page at the Forest Park Library. And it became my first job for the city of Springfield, working as a page in the East Forest Park Library in the Old Brooks Plaza. I have many fond memories of bright nights. When I came home from college, I continued my work with the Boy Scouts at St. Barnabas Church and then at Trinity United Methodist Church. And it's really special for me to be here, especially going back to when I started school in Springfield at Alice B. Beal. So I applaud you for all that you do, especially the Civic Association members. I myself am the vice president of the 16 Acre Civic Association. I know the amount of work it goes into putting on these events and advocating for your neighborhoods. And there's a lot going on in Forest Park right now, right? We have the reconstruction of the X, potential new horticulture center in Forest Park, concerns about preserving the integrity of our historic districts, a number of different elementary schools over 100 years old that are in need of rebuild. And so the choices in this election will have a real impact in the Forest Park community over the next 2 years. And I feel through my work over the last 20 years in service to the city of Springfield have prepared me to advocate for you, to work with you, and to fight for you on the issues that matter most. I'm a lifelong resident of the city, proud graduate of Central High School. I'm an engineer professionally, went to school at UMass Amherst and Western New England University. And like many of the others here on stage, I had no vision of serving in public office. My father was a probation officer and a drug counselor, and my mother sold Avon out of her minivan. And we always believed in giving back to the community, but never thought that a Latorre would consider public service. I was fortunate enough to be asked to join a young professional subcommittee through the city council more than a decade ago, and we focused on things that made me realize that maybe a regular guy like me could be involved in public service, looking at issues like the quality of our website and how that might impact people being involved in coming to the city, or why we can't pay for parking downtown using a credit card. Little things, quality of life issues that impact cities and attract people to our city. And so I'm excited here to speak with all of you tonight. The city's given so much to me, and I consider the opportunity to serve on the city council to be just another opportunity in my life to give back to the city that I love and to continue to work to make a difference. So again, my name is Juan Latorre, and I'm excited to be here with all of you tonight, and I look forward to the discussion. Thank you.
Now our candidate for Ward 3 City Council, Mel Edwards.
Good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure and honor to stand before you today. I'm Melvin Edwards, as she said, proud father and husband, father of 6. I have 16 grandchildren. I have 7 great-grandchildren, born and raised here in the city of Springfield. I know this whole city. Obviously, I'm a ward candidate. I represent Ward 3. I came into office because of the lawsuit that changed how we elected city councilors. I too had no expectations of running for office. I'm the preacher's kid. I was a very difficult child to get raised. I went to the Springfield public schools until they got tired of me or couldn't deal with me anymore, and then I had to go see Sister Margaret McNulty down at Cathedral Grammar on Elliott Street. But I'm a proud member of this community. I get elected from Ward 3, that's where my votes come from. But the oath I take is to represent the entire city of Springfield, which includes all 17 neighborhoods of the city of Springfield. I stand before you presently as the longest serving minority on the Springfield City Council. I've been there for 16 years and I've been blessed not to have an opponent, so I'm, God willing, will get to be at least 18 years on the council. I've served in many capacities on the council, everything except president, vice president, all types of committees. But the longest things that my longest tenure on the city council has been as your representative on the dog officer and as chairman of the Responsible Employer Ordinance Committee. So for the last 16 years, I've monitored the hiring of our residents, women, veterans, minorities, for all municipal construction in excess of $500,000. I have been monitoring the payrolls for the last 16 years for all municipal construction of all the schools, as our mayor so eloquently states. We have built more schools than any community in Massachusetts. Well, proudly say that I've been part of that as well. Many of you may know me as the president of Keep Springfield Beautiful. I've started an organization many years ago, about 20 years ago, with the help of one of your neighbors sitting in this audience today and a few others from around that you live with, because I was tired of my neighborhood and the streets where I lived being dirty. And I recognized that the streets that are clean have less need for police intervention, that their property values rise, that when people are engaged and they're well lit and clean, that they have a higher quality of life. So when I came on the council, I came in as the original environmentalist, the guy who was encouraging people to just pick up trash in their own neighborhoods. It was not my place to tell you what to clean. It was my place to provide you with the tools and resources to help you raise the values and the quality of your own life. I thank you for this opportunity to stand before you. And once again, I want to re-emphasize the fact that I'm here to represent the entire city of Springfield, not any particular ward. So thank you for letting me ramble just for a moment. And the other 12 people who are rerunning to become city councilor, they're going to be my city councilors too. So your vote does matter who you elect. Thank you.
Candidate for City Council Ward 6, Mary Johnson.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone for being here today, to the Forest Park Civic Association for organizing this beautiful event, to Focus Springfield for being here, and to all of you, and the engagement that you're showing and getting out and being part of the community. This means a lot to all of us up here, and it's really a privilege and an honor to stand before you. My name is Attorney Mary Johnson, and I'm a candidate for Springfield City Council, Ward 6. And I grew up in rural Connecticut, little town in the northeast corner. And I met my husband when I was studying law in Boston. He's from Morocco in North Africa, so we have a beautiful multicultural, multiracial family. And when we decided to find our forever home, we were looking in Springfield, Massachusetts, and wanted to get a house out here. And immediately upon finding the beautiful Forest Park area and the beautiful amenities that Springfield has, the quadrangle, we knew that we had found it. And what just added even more sweetness to it was that all the neighbors that came out to greet us when we arrived. It even kind of makes me emotional thinking about it right now. And some of the neighbors may even be in this room right now who came out and greeted us and welcomed us to this beautiful place that we now call home. So my husband and I are raising our kids right nearby on Washington Road. And I decided to run for politics because I am sick of all of the bullying and the grandstanding that's been going on at all levels of politics today. And I believe that we really want to be collaborative, that's going to be what gets things done for the people of Springfield. Now, I'm an attorney every day. People disagree with me, and that's okay. I'm standing up for someone's constitutional rights, and they see it a different way, but I can still shake their hand, say, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week on the other thing. because what it's about is building relationships and making sure that we have a reputation of, as a city councilor, of being able to work with people and being open to ideas. On that same note, I believe in constituent services, or as I like to call it, talking to the people. And that's how we've run this campaign. A huge thanks to all the supporters and volunteers who have come together to make it possible for me to be able to get out the message that we have a new voice and new ideas for Ward 6, the Ward 6 seat. And I think that one of the things about the constituent services we can do is to make sure that people can reach out on a website, but also that I continue to be out there in the community, knocking on doors, asking people what it is that they need. And in fact, we've already started this on the campaign. A few folks have complained about speeding, and so I've gone around door to door. We're already right there, said, okay, who else is experiencing this speeding in this neighborhood? Because as a collective, we can do a lot. As a collective, the city will hear from us and listen to us. Thank you, everyone. I look forward to talking more.
Now our school committee candidates, Chris Collins.
I'm not going to take it off. I know better than to play with the microphones of people who perform. They get very touchy about that. I did take my hat off because if I was my brother, which some of you probably remember as that long white bearded guy with the bowler who was the president of the teachers union, would have left it on. But I can still hear my mother's voice into my ear, take that hat off. So, out of respect to you, I'm taking it off. Justin mentioned that this is the last one, which gives everybody some relief. You ought to give yourselves a big round of applause, because this isn't just the last one, this is the largest of the forums that we've seen. And it shows that this neighborhood cares, that this, and you, I was born on West Albert, which now is Ward 6. Back when I was born, it was Ward 7, redistricting, it's all Ward 6. I currently live on Greenbrier, so I've lived in this area my entire life. I went to work for the school. I proud graduate of Technical High School. Any Tigers in the room? Yeah, there we go. Unfortunately, Tech doesn't exist anymore, but I went to Tech. After Tech, I went to Westfield. I became a teacher. But while I was in school at night, I worked as a custodian. So I actually started in the school system as a custodian. When I graduated from school, I became a teacher, and I worked as a teacher for a long time. I taught, they put me over in Hungry Hill and Liberty Street. I was in Forest Park, but it was a job. And then I ended up on Armory Street. They kept me in the Hill again. So I changed positions and I went to teach in Forest Park. I taught in Echo. Some of you, I recognize some faces, so I've had some interaction with some of you at Echoes. And then I ran the Echoes program. And then from there, I became assistant principal down at New North School. And when I became assistant principal at New North School, I got very active in the North End community. I spent 15 years on the North End Community Center's Board of Directors. Most of my activity in my lifetime was civic activity, had nothing to do with elected office, Holy Name Parish Council, Ward 6 and Ward 7 committees, Forest Park Zoological Board of Directors, so it was all civic stuff that I did. After I was assistant principal there, I was named principal of Warner School. Oh, thank you. All right, so 30 seconds, so I'm going to wrap it up. I've been on the school committee. I have a Mike Rogers story too. I had retired as a principal. I got a call from Michael Rogers, who said to me, we need a principal's voice on the school committee, someone who knows the workings of the system. I said, Mike, I just retired. Leave me alone, give me a break. And he goes, no, you don't understand. We took out the nomination papers. In those days, you only needed 50 signatures. We got the signatures and we filed them. You're running. Thank you.
Rosa, Valentin.
Here, I think I'm going to use my teacher voice. Please use the microphone. Okay, perfect. All right, but I do
have a nice teacher voice that I wanted to use. Good evening, everyone, and I want to thank you, the Forest Park Civic Association, for putting this event together and to give us the opportunity to share a little bit of our stories and who we are and what we're here for. And so, with that being said, my name is Rosa Valentin, and I came to Springfield in 1994, and I moved from Puerto Rico, and I came with my 2 daughters and my husband. I am a widow. I've been a widow for the last 12 years. And right after, I never remarried, never dated, nothing. Right after I opened my home for my parents, both battling dementia. While I was working full-time, I was taking care of them. But I'm proud of it, and I'm very happy. I'm still grieving over my mother's passing away last year. But I'm here and standing strong, and I am caring for the children of Springfield. So why am I running for a school committee? So I'm here tonight in front of you not as a candidate, but as a person with over 35 years of experience in the field of education. Out of those 35 years, 31 of them I have been dedicated my life to the children of Springfield Public Schools. I'm also running because I'm a dedicated resident of District 3, and I'm also running because I'm a proud mother of 2 successful SPS graduates. So I have seen firsthand, I have experienced firsthand the power of public education to change life. And that is what I'm running. I am running because we can do even better. Better for our children, better for our teachers, and better for our families. I'm bringing to this chair a vision rooted in listening. I'm bringing to this chair a vision rooted in family engagement. And I'm bringing to this chair a vision rooted in action. Because if we listen to one another and come together, we can lead with courage and compassion, and we will be able to reimagine our teaching, our education in Springfield to reflect the diversity and the strength of our community. I am also running for children, for the children of Springfield. I want our children to be able to succeed, to be successful in life. I want to make sure that every children in Springfield Public Schools receive what they really, truly need. A high quality education. I'm also running for my colleagues, for my teachers. I'm a teacher too. I have been working here for 31 years. I started as a teacher, as a 4th and 5th grade teacher in Mary Lynch. Then I worked in Washington School for a little bit. Then I moved to 6 to 8, and then my teachers and my families. I'm running for those. Sorry.
Latoya, the other.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Yes, I am so excited to be here with you all. Thank you for the invitation and for having this evening to talk with us and to listen with us. I love working with our city, and I love working in our community. When people ask me why am I running again after 8 years, some people are like, what are you thinking? And I'm like, I'm thinking about our kids. I'm thinking about the same thing I thought about 8 years ago when I first ran, when I stood up and I told people about the story of my son when he was in 2nd grade. And the short of it is, because I only have a couple of minutes, is that he went through a very traumatic situation at a school when he was in 2nd grade. It was a charter school, and I thought that's where you send your kids to get a better experience. And what I found was that was not a good experience for him. And I ended up bringing him to White Street School that I did not necessarily have faith in because of an experience with my older daughter. But somebody said, try it out. They've changed, they're better. It's an environment that you would want to put your kids in. So I went and I tried it, and I walked in the building, I brought my husband with me. I'm like, honey, we gotta go check it out. And we were in that building, and we're like, wow, this is not the same building that our daughter was at. We're gonna bring our son here, and we did, and he did great the first 2 weeks, and then we got a phone call that he was doing stuff in the class, and we're like, oh my God. So we get there, and we sit down with the teacher, Miss Gibson Roy, whom I love dearly and will always think about her and send prayers for her because she's an angel here on earth. And she said to me, Latonia, your son did this, that, and the third, and I'm like, oh. She said, but that's not a problem. The problem is that your son has been traumatized. And I started to cry, and I looked at my husband, I'm like, we're good parents. What do you mean our son has been traumatized? How could this have happened? She said, he's acting up because he thinks he's in trouble, so he's gonna act up. It's what kids do when they've been traumatized. But I wanna help you help your child. And I cried, and I thought, wow, this is the first time in a year that someone has said to me, how can we help you help your child? And that young man got a scholarship when he was in the 4th grade. He now is graduating this year from Putnam. Not only is he graduating, he's graduating with almost an 8 average. He has never, we get so many invitations to college, it doesn't make sense because he's just doing such a great job. But if it wasn't for that educator, so I believe the same thing that I believed then, that we can turn our schools around. We've done so much over the last 8 years, and there's still a lot more to be done. I have 4 children, 2 that have graduated and 2 that are still in the schools, and I want to continue to see this out. So I ask for your vote respectfully on next Tuesday. And or if you want to early vote and get it in quick, you can do that as well. Thank you. Vote Latonia Monroe.
So next we're going to ask each candidate 2 questions prepared by our program committee. We've prepared separate questions for the school committee candidates and the city council candidates. The school committee candidates will answer their 2 questions first, followed by the city council candidates, and each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. So the first question for our school committee. Given the fact that voters decided not to have the MCAS as a graduation requirement, how will we make our students ready for their next step, whether college or the workplace? And we're going to do it in kind of the reverse order you just spoke.
So I would say one of the happiest days of my career in school committee was when we overturned the requirement for MCAS as a graduation requirement. I do think that we have to have some type of standardized test for students to be able to assess where they're at, but I also have learned that a lot of students do not test well. And so when we measure learning according to a test, just like we've learned with teachers who have difficulty passing the intels, they can be great teachers, but for some reason that test is the thing that is a barrier. And it's not because they're not smart, it's not how they learn. And so being able to look at how we can shift the requirements to really look at how our students learn, teach them how they learn, teach them to understand how do you process things, allows them to be able to do better. So we have a lot of different requirements, whether it be FAFSA, whether it be demonstrated learning, whether it be having a certain GPA requirement that we are looking at very closely to make sure that we can see students actually have learned something, not that they just passed the test. Thank you.
Rosa, Valentin.
Good evening again. So for the MCAS requirement, I have to say, and I have to be very honest, that I'm very happy that we are not holding our students to that standards, because we do have a lot of smart kids. Like Latonia said, you know, not everybody's a good test taker. And a test certainly will not prove that a student is ready to go to college and continue with all the skills that are, and continue with all the skills that they need to have in order to be successful in college. I wholeheartedly believe that looking at other avenues and setting other standards for testing or for graduation requirement would be a great alternative. I have been one of those teachers that are not a good test taker, and that does not never have obscured my job or the way I have worked over the years. So for that, we're looking into other venues. We can have, we're working in city requirements in order to make sure that our kids are meeting our standards.
Thank you. MCAS, by the way, its intent when it was talked about was good. It was supposed to be a test to see how well the students are doing. And if you're trained in education, you take a test to find out if the students have learned what you've taught them and how to change your technique of teaching to make sure that they do. The state perverted it into a way to pit schools against each other and to rank schools. And then they took it further and tried to turn it into a punishment. We're going to take over schools that we don't think are doing a good enough job. The thought of MCAS was good. We are going to continue to do testing, but we're going to use it in the right way. And we're going to make sure that our students take all of the state curriculum requirements and pass those requirements and live up to a standard that is the way it should be so that they're prepared to be successful in society. We're not going to punish with a test. We're going to use a test in order to help them learn.
So our second question for our school committee candidates, is there a no phones policy in our school system and is it uniformly enforced? How would you address the problem of cell phones in our school system? Chris, you're up again.
There is not a no phones policy for the entire system. Certain schools have adapted a no phones policy and they have the yonder pouch where the kids lock up their phones and then they can open them at the end of the day. The schools that have done that are very happy with it, not just the teachers and the administration, but the kids are actually happy with it. They are less distracted and it has worked wonderfully, quite honestly. So, should we bring it to every school? Probably, but we need to get inputs from the other levels. Is it a real issue in middle school, which I'm sure it is, and then the elementary, and adapt it rather than make it mandatory. Top-down leadership has never been the way that I've liked to work. I like to get input from the people in doing it, so I'd like to hear from the elementary people and the middle school people before we ask them to do something that they may not feel is helpful.
Latonia, Naylor.
So we do have a policy, as Mr. Collins stated, that there are several schools that have employed this process of these pouches that they put their phones in and whatnot. However, I would say similarly that forcing people to do things is always going to cause people to be creative and how do they get around it. So it's more important to me to make sure that not that we're restricting students, but that we're saying to them, here's a way to control how you use your phones, when you're using your phones, and things of that nature, versus we're going to force you to just lock them down, because I have found that students will open up them pouches somehow, some way. They'll bring an extra phone, so they'll turn in one, and they got another one in the pocket. So it's not necessarily going to be helpful if they're creating an attitude as if they're, or playing along as if they're going along with what we're asking them, but in reality they're still TikToking in the bathrooms, because I see all the posts of the students that happen throughout the day. So I think it really needs to be a learning, a behavioral thing, teaching them self-control, so that way they can employ it, the good skills that they need to know. Thank you.
And Rosa, Valentin?
Yes, I do agree with Latonia and Mr. Collins here. There's I believe two schools that have adopted the cell phone pouch policy in their buildings. And obviously I have had the opportunity to visit those buildings, and I have seen the kids very engaged in what's happening in the classroom. For those that are participating or choosing to put their phone in the pouches, are engaged in classes, are more alert, are more attentive to what's happening in the classroom, and not paying attention to the cell phone. However, This is something, this has to be a collective effort. We have to bring the parents involved in this decision of using the cell phones in the classroom or bringing it to school. I have seen students that, you know, they take the pouch, they open the pouch somehow and take the cell phone and use it. So I think that this has to start by in the home with the parents and trying to kind of work our way out into kind of moving the cell phones out of the schools a little bit.
And now we have our questions for our city council candidates. And we're going to do the first one in alphabetical order. The question is, what ideas do you have about tackling the extensive litter problems throughout the city, including the need to get businesses, homeowners, landlords, and tenants to be responsible for cleaning up their individual spaces? Nicole, Coakley.
I think the most important part is just making sure that everybody knows the resources that they can utilize when it comes to having trash removed from out of their yard. So that's really important. And on top of that, I was also the assistant director of the Center for Service and Leadership at Springfield College. So what I did was a program where we had all of our incoming students go out and clean up our seniors' yard, go help them clean their, do painting at their houses. So getting our young children, our youth involved and getting our young adults involved within the things that need to be done within the community is also important to help with the cleanup and making sure these businesses also know that this is your property. You're responsible for making sure you are getting rid of the trash that's here. It's not okay for us to come and walk past your house or come walk past your business and you have couches or you have trash sitting out here. That's not okay. But I think making sure that we provide the proper resources to let them know that this is the number you call, this is where you go at to get a ticket for your mattress, this is where you go at when you need things done is important. So again, getting the resources out to individuals is really important.
Sean Curran.
Thank you. Again, I think we need to utilize technology a little bit better. In the city of Boston, they have a 311 program that you're able to download an app on your phone. And this app, so for example, if you see a tree that's down in your neighborhood, you take a picture of the tree, you upload it to the app, and everybody in the city can see it. It's kind of like in the old days when people used to listen to police scanners to see what's going on in their neighborhood. But this is on everyone's telephone. This would, number one, make the DPW accountable, would make our neighbors accountable, because everybody's going to see these infractions. The city of Springfield does have a 311 app for such a project, but it's not up to date. It's not invested in. We need to bring this app to 2025. We need to put it on the Apple iStore. We need to download it on our phones, and we need to each and every single one of us be able to utilize this app to take a picture of any infraction, whether it's a pothole in the road, a tree that's down, a neighbor's yard that's full of litter. Upload it, let the city see it, let DPW see it, keep everybody accountable, and let's attack this problem head on. But let's invest in technology. It's a solvable problem. It's been solved in other communities. Let's solve it here in the city of Springfield.
It's a great question. I think it starts with making sure that our code enforcement has the resources and we have enough folks on code enforcement. There are plenty of meetings I go to where there's not enough folks on code enforcement to take care of the whole city. So it starts with that, making sure that we're fully equipped there. It also starts with education, right? We want to make sure that we're educating our folks on making sure that they clean up after themselves. I also think that we do a lot of things in English, and we are a multilingual city. So we need to make sure that that not only goes out in English, but it goes out in Spanish and a lot of the other languages. Because we have folks from Somalia, we have folks from other countries here. So we want to make sure that we're connecting to all people. And the last piece is I want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on those properties that are out-of-town landlords. I had an issue across the street from me with the out-of-town landlord who we called code enforcement. We did all these things. They had a dumpster all winter and we still couldn't get it done. And so I want to make sure that we're holding out-of-town landlords accountable because they come here, they buy up our properties, they make their money, but they don't take care of their properties. So I want to make sure that we're paying attention to those properties as well.
Melvin Edwards.
As the president of Keep Springfield Beautiful, this question is geared right for me, I guess. We as an affiliate of Keep America Beautiful. I'm 66 years old, so in the 60s, I grew up looking at commercials of an Indian with the water and the pollution in the water. I came on the council with the intent to try to get people to buy into the ideal that they need to be responsible. It starts with education. It starts teaching young people the importance of being responsible with their litter and with their trash. And it's a very simple thing. This is not very complicated in the sense that you don't have to throw it on the ground. There's no reason to throw it on the ground. We have to start holding people accountable and recognizing that you have a choice about what you do with your litter, how you treat your neighbors, and it goes well beyond just the trash. It goes to the speeding, it goes to the noise complaints, it goes to the special permits that we grant, and we have no follow-up or no system in place that holds the people who apply for these permits to be held accountable. Yes, outside landlords are buying the property and they need to be held responsible, but how many of us have neighbors who are residents and owners of property within our city, and they're just as bad as the out-of-town ones as well? We just need to hold everybody accountable.
Justin Hurst.
Gotta get this microphone out. Thank you so much for the question. You know, for me, it's hard for us to hold homeowners accountable and businesses accountable without we as the city of Springfield holding ourselves accountable. When I talked earlier about having pride in our city, I meant it. And that also starts with the trash that is strewn throughout our streets and throughout our parks. We need to do our part first. And it's the little things that have the most impact on the city. And I'm a firm believer that if people see that the city of Springfield itself and its vacant lots has pride in those particular lots, and the street lights has pride in making sure that Eversource, with its rate hikes, actually does what it is that they need to do. If we can do the little things here in the city of Springfield, grooming our terraces, and we start at home, I can ensure you that the residents of Springfield will follow our lead. Yes, code enforcement is great, but we don't always have to be punitive. Let's educate, let's make sure our residents are aware of what it is that they need to do, and we as the city of Springfield need to do better ourselves.
Mary Johnson.
Thank you so much for the question. It's an important one we all deserve. All of us, all of our neighbors, all of the residents of Springfield deserve to live in clean places, deserve to live in a place where the sidewalks and our streets are clean. It's one of the reasons we made it part of the platform of our campaign to clean up our sidewalks and our streets from trash and litter. And my plan is a simple one. It's because of concern about the budget right now in Springfield and a lot of cuts across the board. I want to be fiscally responsible. And a lot of grant money is already going to city departments in Springfield. And instead of being punitive, I think that we can look for the grant money that's going to, like the Economic Development Department, for example, in Springfield. They get money that they can give to stores to clean up their storefront. So it's really about me as a city councilor saying, hey, I have this store, it's over at the X, let's get them connected to economic development because they could apply for that grant. And I believe that it's based, I think that real community change comes from community feeling like people feeling like they are involved and like government cares about them.
Walsh. I'm sorry, Juan Latorre. I'm trying to do this in alphabetical order.
Thank you so much. You've already heard so many wonderful comments that the solution is part education and part enforcement. And I agree with so much of that. Fortunately, here in the city, we have the benefit of a recent initiative called the Litter Advisory Committee that came up with some really great ideas on how to improve litter, not only in Forest Park, but that can be applied across the city. A few of those ideas have been implemented. There's a lot more that are still out there. I'd like to be able to serve on the city council and work to implement some of those ideas. And one that really springs home to me is I want to give people the opportunity to do the right thing. So let's get more trash cans in the neighborhoods in appropriate places to allow people to dispose their litter properly and clean it up properly. But on the enforcement side, I do want to be clear, a lot of businesses benefit from operating the city by having special permits. And special permits are special for a reason. They're not guaranteed. They have to get a majority vote of the council. And most of them generally say, you've got to keep your property clean, and you've got to keep a good distance around your property clean. And we've got to do more to hold those special permits up so that they actually mean something. And I really believe that we should work with businesses, we should give them an opportunity to do well, we should give them a chance to improve their situation. But if they're not doing it, and they're not showing that they're serious about doing it, we really need to use the power of the city council to bring them in and consider revoking some of those special permits if they're not willing to be a good neighborhood, whether that's in Forest Park or anywhere in the city. Thank you.
Now, Kateri Walsh.
I agree, there's been really a lot of good ideas about litter, and I think we all agree that's one of those quality of life issues that is so important. And I think there are a couple of parts to litter. I think we are very fortunate that we have such a wonderful code enforcement division that when people do call, and I frequently get calls, and I think those of us on the council, we frequently get calls about litter, there is somebody that we can refer them to that can help with the problem. On the city side, I think we have to make sure that we fully fund code enforcement. And listening to some of the discussion today, I think it'd be very important to start with children and make sure that they learn in school about litter, because frequently children bring these ideas to their parents, like what they did with when we had the kids voting. And it's very important that they would be involved. But talking about getting the city council involved, there's a perfect example with the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree, which borders on Forest Park and East Forest Park, had a terrible reputation for litter. And then members of the city council got involved with the business, brought them to task, brought them to meetings, and forced them to clean up their lot. And there's been a tremendous improvement there. And that is an example of people coming to the city council reacting, and something getting done. And I hope the city stays clean. Thank you.
Tracy Whitfield.
I knew I was going to be last, and I knew everybody was going to say everything that I wanted to say, get more trash, code enforcement, all these things. So I did some research to see what the cleanest cities in the U.S. are doing. And so most of them are focusing on sustainability, renewable energy, and reducing waste, composting, and all these creative things. So I'm like, how can we together work together to be innovative? How can we work with our young people and our more experienced people? How can we bring them together so we can be creative, educate each other together, be in the same room, all work toward the same goal in the city of Springfield? And I thought about creating innovative hubs for litter and reducing waste and all these things together in each neighborhood. And then make it a friendly competition. Whose neighborhood is the cleanest? I'm competitive and I like to win, and that's why I ran for city council too. And if each neighborhood, and we have our own color shirts, and we make it a friendly competition, and everyone gets a trophy at the end. I know my time is up, but I think that we can do this together because we will be in the rooms together, working together, and I believe that right there. Let's be innovative, let's create innovative hubs.
I actually love that idea. Okay, the second question for our city council candidates is, housing is a major issue in our city. With the lack of affordable housing and with homelessness continuing to be a problem, how will you address these housing issues? And we are going to start with Mary Johnson.
Thank you. Yes, we need more housing. The state of Massachusetts recognizes that here in Springfield. We all see that. I believe that the city council can approve the RFPs, the people that are coming forward and saying, look, I have this idea, I can build this, these are the apartments, these are the condominiums. that I have and that I want to build, and we need to make that process go quickly. Really what that means is that, as a city councilor, I'm doing my research, so before I get to the meeting, I'm prepared, I know what questions I'm going to ask, I know where maybe the holes are in what they're saying, and I can either say yay or nay to that project quickly and move on to the next one. And so, I want to bring professionalism, passion, and hard work to this job. So that we can get things done in a timely basis for our residents. I also think that there could be a focus on condominiums over just apartments. I think this is an important housing, while we have a housing crisis, people are, not everyone needs to buy a home that stands on its own. There are a lot of condominiums already in Springfield. We could take a feather from the cap of Agawam. We don't have to go that far, but we could get a lot of condominiums here in Springfield, and that could be a great source of housing for people. And Springfield City Council can help make that happen quickly. Thank you.
I do a lot of good work around housing in the city of Springfield. And one of the first things I have to remind people is that the city actually builds schools and municipal buildings. We don't build housing. What we can do is help facilitate those who do build it. And so you will hear about developers looking to acquire property the city may own through the RFP process. Or you have, as we know right now, there's several projects around the city on State Street. Gordon Pulsifer has two different, a former bank, a former school department building. We look up to the Hollywood neighborhood. All those projects, if you look at the Mesa Square and all of the big housing projects, they were helped to develop, we as a city helped the developer to move these projects forward, but we're not the ones who can build a house or are not equipped to do that. But we also make sure that the path to doing it is a comfortable one. It is not always pleasant for people who do business, who do build houses, and they do it for profit, to want to come before the city council. We as councilors need to be better prepared to make these meetings more efficient. We need to have our code and building department and all the agencies that support them more efficient so that they can be more supportive for those who do make money building housing.
Tracy Whitfield.
So when it comes to housing, I'm thinking about the homeless population. I'm thinking about our seniors and folks that income may be reduced, or our young people that's just graduating from college that don't have the income. And I think about using a lot of our vacant buildings, city-owned buildings, to build micro or mini apartments. I know that some of our colleagues think that everyone needs this grand space, but as I talk to seniors in the neighborhood, they want one level, less space, or less cleaning, that's more efficient for them to get around. My mom moved back in with me, and I know some people may be against ADUs, but that's the opportunity for us so that she can have her own space and her own privacy within my home, but it's still her home and it's still separate from one another, because sometimes we need that. Although I love her being there as my nice little chef. I always prayed for a chef, and then my mom moved back. And so I'm blessed right now. And I love being with her, but we also need our space apart. And so we can take advantage of ADUs, building smaller units, because would you rather be in a smaller unit or out on the street? And so my take is, let's get creative in those innovation hubs and think about housing in a rounded aspect. Thank you.
Curran.
One thing we can do to solve the housing crisis here in Springfield, and it is a crisis, is to stop giving corporate out-of-city landlords tax credits for converting buildings here in the city of Springfield and only turning them into rentals. We've one landlord from Andover has 5,000 units here in the city of Springfield. It's great that people are willing to convert buildings here in the city of Springfield, but some portion of those conversions have to be for condominium units so that the general public can buy and actually own some of these apartments. In 2023, the city of Springfield had the greatest rental appreciation of any city in the United States of America. That's unacceptable. In the entire United States of America, the rent went up that high. That's the symptom of a broken housing department. So no more corporate landlords getting these corporate tax breaks without holding their feet to the fire and allowing Springfield residents to buy some of those units. That'd be number one.
Nicole Coakley.
I think it's important that we really just think about providing the resources and the access, making it accessible for individuals that have a hunger to help their community. We have folks that want to be invited to the tables, but they feel like they're not welcome, that want to just purchase a house and be able to provide it for the homeless to have a place to stay. But how do we get this information to them? RFPs get put out, but then they feel like that's only for big corporations. That's not true. So how do we make sure that they know that this is accessible to you, this is for you too? So if you have houses and homes that you see that are just sitting there, that are abandoned within your community, and you want to be able to purchase that and provide it as a shelter for individuals to be able to utilize, individuals coming from domestic violence, that's okay. Let me show you how to do it. Let me take your hand and show you the process and the way to do it. We have to learn to help each other instead of looking down on each other to say, you don't belong at this table because you don't fit in. We have to learn how to do that because the homeless population is only going to continue to increase if we don't come together as a community to figure out how can we figure this out and work together to help those that don't have a place to stay. I just helped a family move out of their home yesterday because she got evicted, but I was able to find her another place to stay. But sometimes it's just not that easy, so we got to work together.
Walsh.
Thank you. You know, this is one of the questions we get a lot of times because it is the responsibility of the Springfield City Council, one of our major responsibilities, to address housing issues and to pass special permits or zoning for housing. And I think there is some good news on the housing front. I know recently in the City Council we just passed a housing initiative for Main Street, the Stockbridge Court. It's going to bring 111 apartments to the downtown area. So when we get these projects that come before us, I think we're diligent in making sure that there are housing opportunities for all levels of people looking for housings. The city has a great first-time home buyers program. They did have really good ideas with the auctions, which have stopped. But there are two initiatives on the state level that I think we should look at. And one is the state has just said that there should be an inventory of municipal buildings, vacant city land, to see if it's available for housing. And as we stand here in the Old Faith Church, there's also an initiative called In God's Hands that wants people to look at churches and to see if they can be reused for housing. So I think we should definitely adopt some of those. Thank you.
It's tough going last. Kateri, you took my idea about the churches, as I've seen in other municipalities that they have turned churches into apartment units for folks to rent out. In addition to that, we have a number of commercial buildings that are vacant throughout the city of Springfield. There's no reason why we can't incentivize developers. I know the pilot programs, payment in lieu of taxes, are a big issue. Yes, we want certain folks to pay taxes, but we also want to give people breaks so that they can in turn come and invest here in the city of Springfield. But not just invest, make sure that they also are offering a portion of that housing that is affordable. And if we give them a payment in lieu of taxes, let's make sure there's a caveat that they provide some affordable housing. And then the last thing I would say is that we need to make sure that we're really enforcing our residency requirement, because people can't afford to rent nowadays. However, if we're giving our municipal jobs to those who live locally, then our young people and those who are working here in the city of Springfield will have good paying jobs, will actually be able to afford the rent that folks are asking nowadays.
Thank you. At this point, we are going to...
Oh, did I skip you? I apologize. Oh, sorry.
Beata, you're doing great. Let's give her a round of applause. So thank you so much. In the minute I have, I want to just touch on three things briefly. I think we're all in agreement that we need housing of all types, from affordable, workforce, and market rate. And I agree with some of the comments here that when I look about those population that's unhoused, I think tiny homes are something we really need to look at to give those individuals who are living in shelters but are ready to continue to grow their lives, to give them an opportunity to start to enjoy that independence. Another big thing for me is first-time home buyers incentives. And when companies come to the city of Springfield seeking permits and looking for tax relief, we have got to have them, as part of that negotiation, agree to give their employees first-time home buyers benefits so we can turn Springfield employees into Springfield homeowners. And the last thing I want to say, and this is where I speak to proactiveness, we're getting ready to build a $600 million courthouse in the city, and there's about a dozen bidders. One of them's going to win, and about a dozen people are going to lose. But they're all willing to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in the city. We need to be talking to all of them right now and saying, you might win, but if you lose, we want to talk to you about building housing in the city of Springfield. Thank you.
So I was fortunate enough to be the chair of the Buy Springfield Now program back in 2010, coming off of the Great Recession, where a lot of people lost their houses because they were given loans they couldn't afford. This time around, we have a much different challenge. We have low supply and high demand. And so I do agree that we need to work with our developers to create incentives to make sure that we can build here. But I also know that I was fortunate enough to buy my house when I was 25, X amount of years ago. But folks my age, or would be 25 back then, or today, cannot afford the house. So we need to continue to give incentives to our young folks so they can actually live in houses. And I also think that we also need to start looking at the corporate landlord situation. We are known as the city of homes. And one of the things I just saw a report on is that the city of Springfield is one of the hottest markets in the country. You have a lot of folks coming in here, corporate folks, buying up our single family properties and then renting them out. And I do agree that we need to be creative and do tiny homes, maybe do dorm style living, because not everybody needs their own apartment, but we need to make sure that we remain the city of homes because for our next generation of folks.
Thank you. I'm sorry. All right, so at this point, we are going to open it up to questions and answers from you to our candidates. We're going to ask those with questions for our city council candidates to line up on this side, school council to line up, school committee to line up on this side, and we're going to alternate. You can address your questions to an individual or to the entire group, and we're giving each person 1 minute to respond. No more than a minute, please. And so at this point, if you have questions, we invite you to come up. Can I start off with my own question? And this is to everyone, because recently we had the ordinance officer come to our civic association meeting. And one of the points that came up is that they have no real way to enforce it if someone does not respond to the fines, does not respond to the citations. And I wondered why that is. Why isn't there another step other than waiting until the person sells their house and taking the money then? What can be done about this issue?
They can take them to court if they so choose, and the court will appoint a receiver. And so at that point in time, the receiver will.
Our ordinance officers, our police ordinance officer, he said no, they can't.
You said your police ordinance officer.
Yes, I'm sorry if I wasn't clear, yeah.
Can you repeat your question again?
Yes, the police ordinance officers given out lots and lots of tickets. He said by and large they're ignored. So they're diligently out there citing violations, making people aware that they're in violation, giving them steadily increasing fines to which there's no response. And while the city, and I can't now immediately think of when it's done on the city side, they can take them to court. But why do these things go into a black hole? Is there some way to address this? And it seems to me this is a city council issue. Am I wrong?
So thank you for the question. I'm not gonna pretend to know the answer, but what I do is research, right? So you can see that from my answers, I do my research, and I'm willing to come back in front of all of you once I've done research and talk to you about it, and we can come up with creative solutions together. We are not going to know it all. One thing, when I got a code enforcement, I did get a code enforcement violation for not having numbers on my house because I was getting some siding done and I didn't put the numbers on in enough time. So they sent me a bunch of tickets, and I was like, I went the next day and got mine and paid my citation, but they also can put a lien on your property if you don't pay citation. So I know that that's one thing that they do from working in the finance department and having the treasury department as my budget. That is something that they can do, but we can solve this together. So we don't know it all, and we love questions like this, and we love working with you to get those answers. So we can work together on it and see what we can enforce with code enforcement. Thank you for your time, my time.
I'm not going to pretend to know the answer either on this, but what I do think I understand is once you have enough fines, I do believe that at some point there can be a lien put on the property. And then that can be held up in court in terms of taking action that way. One of the things I want to be mindful of too is if there's a property that's being neglected, that's one area we want to enforce, but I also want to be mindful there are some folks who are actually struggling with their homes, and I want to make sure that we're making sure that we find out what the situation is first before we go that taxing route or trying to take a property from somebody, because I don't want to take a property from somebody if they're struggling. If we can create some opportunities to work with them to get them back even in terms of getting that stuff bid out. And the last thing, if it is somebody who's not paying attention, that I'm sorry, but I'm all about posting the property and putting it online and making sure that we make an example, show the picture to say, put it on 22, put it on a mass live and make an example until they're embarrassed enough to take care of their property.
Please. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Sheila McElwain. I live on Meredith Street in Ward 6. I'm home. I have a question for every candidate. I've gone to city council for a long time, and I've noticed that not every city councilor and every school committee person is there for every speak out, every public speak out. And now that we have technology, a lot of people, a lot of elected officials don't even come to the meetings. And I just hope that you will pledge that when you're elected, that you will show up at every meeting and that you will go to every speak out. Every citizen who shows up, they speak about something that's deeply important to them. And I think they deserve the respect from the elected officials who are paid to be there. If I have to have an early dinner and I have to get cleaned up and I have to get down to city council and find a place to park, you should be there too. Thank you.
I'd like to stand up first, Sheila, to just say that yes, I do pledge that. I think we've all come out of COVID now, thankfully, and we have in place things that ways and reasons that you have to be on Zoom rather than in person. And there are restricted reasons. There are a limited number of reasons. For example, if you're have a contagious illness or something like that. So we can have very specific reasons why you'd have to be on Zoom, and otherwise, I pledge to be there in person. Thank you, Sheila.
I would agree with that. As somebody who's been on the council for the last year and a half, I've probably made it to 95% of my meetings. I do think that there are meetings that I can't miss. I do have a full-time job during the day where I do have to travel across the state. So there are some circumstances where I can't be. But I agree. I think we should be in person. I know that when COVID happened and we went online, it made it a lot easier for folks to make it to meetings virtually, especially for those folks who are on boards that go across the state. So I do agree with continuing that when you have something that, let's say, a board in Boston, which you live in Springfield. But we live in the city of Springfield, and there should be no reason why we can't go right down to downtown to go to our meetings. We had one meeting that we couldn't have because the technology wasn't working. We had that. But I do believe that there are circumstances where, I have children, but for the most part, I do think you should be there.
as a school committee candidate. I'm a first-time runner. This is my first time running for office, and I am pledging here that I'll be in every meeting, every speak out for our children, for our families, and for our teachers. So my pledge is here with you guys.
Yes, and as a mother of 5, I pledge to show up. I'm going to be there because if you put me in office, I got to show up because this is important to you, so it's going to be important to me. And on top of that, I was a part of passing the opportunity for us to use our campaign funds to pay for childcare, so that is a part of what we can do now, so there's no excuse why I can't show up to none of these meetings. I'll be there. Coakley.
This is the first time public speak out has been brought up in these neighborhood forums, and the solution that I had heard, I thought it made the most sense, was simply to start the meeting at 7 and make public speak out part of the meeting. And I think that's would solve the solution. It would allow the residents' voice to be part of the meeting, and it would mandate that all the councilors would have to be there and to listen. I do remember, actually, former city solicitor Pat Markey in the audience. When the control board was here, there was a lot of goodwill for the control board to turn the city around. But the one day that they really changed that was there was a World War II veteran and a 32-year veteran firefighter, and they told them at one of the meetings, you can't speak out at this meeting. This is the control board, and that things went downhill from that. The voice of the residents of Springfield is very important. The voice of the residents of Springfield needs to be heard at the city council meetings. Many of the solutions that we're trying to implement come directly from you at the podium. So next term, let's make public speak out part of the meeting. We'll solve this problem. Thanks for bringing up that question, and I think we'll have a solution.
I'm only guilty of half of it, because I've been on the council for 16 years and I've never missed a city council regular meeting. But I am guilty of missing some of your public speak-outs. But allow me to just simply say this. All 16 years I've had the same cell phone number. I have had the same email, melvinspeaks@msn.com. And many of you in this audience know that you have over the years had no hesitation in reaching out to Kit Holt to me to tell me what your ideals, concerns, or issues were. And many of the people sitting here running for office today on both sides at one time or another have sat on my couch and we've talked about the issues from this side and from this side as well. So I'll admit that I do miss a lot of those. I don't attend a lot of the committee meetings because I don't need to hear something 3 times. When you watch these city council meetings, you can tell who read the packet that came out on a Thursday and who actually did their homework before they walked into the chamber. Just pay attention to who asked questions that were spoken of and mentioned at the podium 5 minutes later. Thank you.
I have absolutely no problem making that pledge because I do it. And Sheila, thank you so much for the question. Often, unfortunately, some people treat the speak out as not as important at the meeting. I happen to think it's more important than the meeting. And it's really, and there are people who don't come, and it's not present company, because my colleague here also goes to all of those speak outs. And it's very important that we be at speak outs. Unless you're in the hospital, I would say you'd be there.
I definitely have to echo the sentiment of Mr. Collins. I have been on school committee for 8 years and I've missed 4 meetings. One was because I was sick with COVID. 3 other ones I had to attend via Zoom because I was traveling for school committee business or my own personal business. So I had to attend via Zoom. But I think I missed one, Mr. Collins. I missed one speak out in the last 8 years because I was traveling. But again, I was on Zoom. And so with that, I continue to pledge to be there. I think it's very important to be there, and I know that we are elected to be representing you, and we can't represent you if we're not at the table. So thank you for bringing that up. There are a couple of reasons why we have within our policy that people would choose to sit in Zoom instead of being in person. But I will be the first one to say that there's folks that do take advantage of that and may not be the reasons that are the 5 as to why they're not there. So I think we need to continue to bring this up, continue to hold folks accountable, that if you're electing them to be there, you're expecting them to be there in person. So thank you.
Thank you for the question, Sheila. I actually put out a press release on this in September with some ideas for reforms because I felt that the city council was misusing the policy. There's even been times in the last year where there's been technical issues where councilors weren't able to participate remotely, and there weren't enough councilors to even have a quorum. So the meeting had to be canceled. That's a huge issue for a city of our size. There's so much going on. So I think city councilors and school committee members should be in person as often as possible. I'm okay with a policy that has some flexibility, whether it be for bereavement or sickness or childcare, but I don't think that elected officials should be okay with participating remotely 50% of the time. I have a big problem with officials participating in meetings while driving. I think that's a safety concern for them and a liability for the city. And as it relates to public speak out, I don't sit up here to have all the answers. I benefit and I learn from engaging with all of you and hearing about the issues you're concerned about. So I look forward to serving on the city council, and when you come to the city council to speak, I look forward to listening to you in person. Thank you.
Please, if you have questions, please come up so we know.
I didn't answer about the public speak.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay. Personally, I love public speak. I look forward to proclamation nights. And I don't know if any of you were there Monday when we honored all the neighborhood councils with a pizza party and thanked them for their participation. But I really enjoy when people come and tell us what's on their mind, and then we can act on it. And I think myself and another counselor may hold the record for sponsoring proclamations and recognizing people and businesses in our community that have contributed to the city of Springfield. But you guys know, life happens. Nobody can be there 100%. And when we can't be there, having the opportunity to attend on Zoom is very, very important. And quickly, one of the events I just talked about, cleaning up the Dollar Tree, was the direct result of an issue raised at Speak Out. So it's very effective. And I'll see you in person.
I'm confused that this is even an issue or a question. This is the second time that I've heard this during these forums. I served on the council for 10 years. Not once did this question ever come up. And so I can't fathom, I mean, this is why we do it. So we ought to be present. We ought to be at the public speak out. And I can't imagine why you would not be present. Otherwise, don't run. The public speak out, and I appreciate you speaking to what I proposed, Councilor Curran, but there's no reason why we can't start the meeting at 6:30 and have that public speak out start, and then we can just segue right into our meeting. But we shouldn't even have to go that far. If we have public speak out at 6:30, people should feel as though they have an obligation to be there to listen to the residents. It shouldn't be that hard, and this shouldn't even be a question that we're talking about.
I guess I wanted to go last for a reason, because I make a pledge to be there. But I was a foster kid of 4 children, and they were all 12 and under. And I didn't have a babysitter. There was no babysitter fee payments going on at that time. But I pledged to be there. And so when I couldn't find a babysitter, if I couldn't find someone to watch them, I pledged to be there. I pledged to vote. That's what I ran for, to make sure that I hear, understand, and able to vote. And sometimes things happen in life where you can't be there. So I know a press release went out and they talked about like how many times people were there in person and how many times they wasn't, but what they didn't talk about is my father dying and having to be there when my father was dying. They didn't talk about those things, but I was still there. And I was still dealing with the emotional side of what I was dealing with in my household. And I was still committed. And when I could get there in person, I was there in person. But if I couldn't get there in person, I was still there to vote. One time, since COVID, we had a technical issue. One time, since I've been city council, there was a technical issue. So, I know it's time, but sometimes we gotta take what we perceive as being the truth, that people don't wanna be there in person, and understand that there's also human things that are happening in our lives that prevent us from being there physically, but mentally and there to vote, I'm still there, and I will always be there.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here tonight. My name is Kerr White. I hate to single anybody out tonight specifically, but Attorney Johnson, good evening to you. I've received several of your flyers in my door, and I want to thank you for your diligence. I am a lifelong Springfield resident and a homeowner on Spruceland Avenue. You've certainly piqued my interest in your candidacy. One of the platforms you are running on is lowering taxes, and I'm curious as to how you propose to do that. Do you have a plan in place? Do you have a concept that you'd like to share with us? I'm just curious. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for this important question, right? Because right now, we're just being squeezed from all sides, you know, like whether you have to purchase, you know, food, or you're trying to buy some wood for a cabinet, or these old houses, you're trying to fix something. Everything is more expensive right now. So I made it a priority, and then I found out how the heck we can actually do that. So City Council is able to take a vote, right, every year, where we decide what's the percentage of property taxes between residential property taxes and commercial property taxes, and which one's going to be higher and lower. So I promise that I'm going to make the residential taxes lower, that I'm going to keep that on the low end. I know that affects businesses. Like I get that, and I'm willing to like talk about how, and perhaps doing even a town hall about like, okay, how can we support businesses at this time? But I really do feel that residents right now are feeling the hit so much. The other piece of it is looking at other revenue. I do think, you know, that while the voluntary pilot programs have a lot of issues, I'm willing to work with the team of residents that have worked on it already to figure out how we can move that forward. So it's a two-part. Thank you, Mr.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Albee, and I live at 35 Rainey Street here in, I guess, District 6. My husband and I are new residents. Well, he's lived in Springfield for quite some time. We're newlyweds. And we bought a house this year in Springfield. Thank you. And I've enjoyed the questions that were asked tonight. I thought they were important. I guess one of my questions as a new resident to Springfield and trying to get used to this area, I grew up in Enfield, so not far away at all. I know what I could do in Enfield, that kind of thing, but what can we do as residents as constituents to help with things like the trash in our neighborhoods and the crime that we see happening in the streets and right in front of us? What can we do as your constituents to help promote safer neighborhoods, friendlier neighborhoods within this city? And my question's for everybody. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for the question and welcome to the neighborhood. Public service starts with the choice to come out your house, to be engaged with your neighbors. Keep Springfield Beautiful. Every year we participate with a national organization in hosting an event called the Great American Cleanup. Once a year, over the last few years, last year, I believe between 400 and 500 cars showed up at Tapley Street. We hosted an event to get rid of free electronics. So we need those types of events. We encourage students who need letters of community service to come out and help clean up these things. Being engaged and just talking to and making us aware of what's going on. Calling 311, which is a normal system for the complaints and for the system to address issues and stuff like that. But it's just being engaged, knowing who your neighbor is and feeling comfortable enough to see something and to be able to say something. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Welcome to Springfield. Thank you for crossing the border. So I'm the co-chair of the Mason Square C3, and I don't know if you've been to the Forest Park C3, but they also have one, and going to the community meetings and things like that to report the issues. But one thing that I noticed as being the co-chair of the C3 is that sometimes people just don't want to get involved for fear of retaliation. So we do have the opportunity to use text to tip, so you can, and it's anonymous, so you can send any of those type of concerns without being like thinking that you're going to be retaliated against or anything like that. But it's very important for all of us to get involved in some way in community engagement. And I think Forest Park has, look at this right here, Forest Park Civic Association, Forest Park C3. There's a lot of opportunity in this area to get involved, and I think that you will see that, you know, it is a great community to be involved with, and then invite others in, right? We gotta get more people involved. We gotta invite our youth. We gotta talk to the schools and get the youth more involved, and so that we can build collectively and together, because I think that there is a gap and there is an opportunity for us to bring students and young people and young adults to the table so they don't feel left out, so they don't feel like they can't be a part of the solution. And I'm going to keep talking about innovation hubs. So if you want to help me create one for Forest Park, we can do it together. So let's just all like try to work together and create the safe environment that we're looking for. Thank you.
I think it starts with what you're doing here now. It's just the fact that you're here, it says a lot. And I want to give a plug for our civic associations that do a lot of work. It starts with just speaking to somebody and joining that. I would encourage you, and I would encourage everybody that's here, to get to know your neighbors. I don't know how many of you guys know each other, but introduce yourself and welcome this, you know, lovely couple, and figure out ways that we can bring them along, whether it's a civic association, because I know they're always looking for people, always looking for new ideas. And if they're, you know, and one thing I do want to talk about is, a lot of folks, particularly in the media, talk about a lot of the negative things in Springfield. There are a lot of really amazing things going on, a lot of really great organizations doing really amazing things, and so I want to make sure we do a better job of highlighting that and make sure that folks like yourself know that that's available. We got to do a better job of marketing our city because there's a lot of amazing things happening. And the last thing I would say is, if we're a city of talented folks, if there is not something here that you think we should have, please, by means, start it. Start something. I'm sure you guys have amazing talent that you could share to us, to our seniors, to our youth, to really start something and, yeah, go along. So, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you for the question. You know, sometimes there's a perception in Springfield that we love our lifelong residents more than our new residents. We love them both equally, and our new residents give us opportunities to learn new ideas. So I really appreciate your perspective. C3 is wonderful. Civic associations are wonderful. We also have police sector meetings. So, you know, you have a lot of different opportunities to engage in the public safety space to offer suggestions. I want to just give you two other suggestions. Although maybe not directly related to public safety, there's a lot of municipal boards that maybe have open seats, and we need smart people with different backgrounds and different experiences, perspectives, to raise their hands and say, I'm willing to serve, because that helps to strengthen the community in other ways that can impact public safety and vibrancy. And so I want to encourage you to do that, but also right here in Forest Park, we have so many nonprofit organizations that would be so happy to have you as a volunteer or a board member or someone that could just help to coordinate and organize things. So we're glad you're here. We welcome your talents, and I can't wait to see what you do. Thank you.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to say welcome to the beautiful city of Springfield. Honey, you crossed over that borderline of Connecticut and came to Massachusetts. Hey. So we just want to say welcome, but I just want you to know that don't limit yourself based on your zip code. If you are concerned and want to help, we welcome you. I am also the admin for the Mason Square C3. So if I can give you your email for us, I will take your email, and that's the starting point for you to learn about how do you speak out and say what's concerning to you and how can you get involved. I agree with everything that everyone has said, and I just want you to know that it's important. So continue to speak out, ask questions, and get involved. Don't let nobody limit you and say you can't come over here. Absolutely not. Just come on. If you got a problem, call Nicole Coakley. I'll be here.
So I just want to say that we also can consider adopting a school or volunteering at a school. We have a wonderful Springfield School Volunteers program. We also have a lot of pilot programs happening in our schools. So some of them do things like what is that thing called? Somebody said it earlier with the food. Composting. They do the composting and the recycling, and they have public safety and different kind of groups and stuff like that, and they're always looking for volunteers from the community that want to get engaged with the schools. I used to live on Rainy Street. I actually did a lot of work with the C3 over there in the community. So I would definitely say don't discount getting engaged with the schools as well. I don't know why this wants to do this to me, but yeah, don't discount getting engaged with the schools, because one of the things that I've learned is that oftentimes our kids are the ones that are doing a lot of the things because they're not taught. So when they get somebody that loves them, my mom did foster grandparents for a long time, and the kids just love having a grandma in the room that they can talk to, that they can relate to. And so even though you may not be a grandma, to them you are a grandma, and they just love it, and it just gives you the opportunity to be able to teach them some things they may not know.
Welcome the new family, and what an honor to be up here with all these wonderful people talking about how great Springfield is. This is really exciting. And thank you to all the answers. I wanted to say welcome, and there are forms in the back if you'd like to join the Forest Park Civic Association. It looks like you already have a bunch of forms. Is anyone here from Springfield Preservation Trust, perchance? Anyone from Springfield Preservation Trust? Oh, there you go, Mr. Melvin is right there. Because there are openings on the Springfield Historic Commission right now, and they're looking for folks to be on the board. It was something that Jay Latorre mentioned, to be on a board and serve in the city of Springfield as well. Thank you. Welcome.
It's really cool, and I'll be brief. It's so refreshing when residents actually come to city councilors and say, hey, how can I help? Oftentimes, you know, folks are so overly reliant on city councilors to solve all of the issues that are impacting residents of Springfield, and that's extremely difficult. And we want you all to know that we need you all just as much as you might think you need us.
Well, I think you moved to a great neighborhood if you wanted to get involved. And again, welcome. You've got the Forest Park Civic Association sponsoring this tonight. And I believe there were forms as we came in the door to get involved. There's the Ward 6 Democratic City Committee. There's the city website, which lists all our meetings and when they are, and our public speak, which we mentioned tonight. I mean, all our meetings are open to the public. And if you wanted to get truly involved and come and hear what's going on, I think it'd be great if you attended some of those meetings. But I think you're in a great place to get involved because there's so many good things going on in the city of Springfield. I don't know if 52 Sumner is looking for volunteers right here. Angela, you're looking for any volunteers? But there's, right within this room, I think there's many places where you can get involved and enjoy being here back here in Springfield and move. You'll be glad you moved from Enfield.
Hi, my name's Jackie Pleat. I live on Bellevue Avenue in Forest Park. I'm in Ward 3F, actually. Thank you all for taking time to come tonight. This question is actually for City Council. We have two major climate change issues for our city that is resurfacing. One is the biomass plant, and they burn these wood chips, which affects our our air quality, and as you know, we're known as one of the top, I don't know if it's now 4 asthma cities in the country. It used to be number 1. And there's also the high-pressure Eversource gas line, which we thought we had put a hold on, and it's sort of resurfacing itself. And of course, we have concerns about the health risks with leaking methane and potential for explosions, which is had in Springfield, and the thought that this really is just a redundant line. So I'm just wondering if City Council has anything that they might be able to do to work towards keeping our city healthy.
Actually, I've had the pleasure of serving on this council with some of my colleagues here on the stage in the fight against the biomass plant. I did, because of the comments that I made in opposition to that proposal, I ended up having to do a 6-hour deposition as a part of the lawsuit. We've done as much as we can, but we're still not done. The next step for us is encouraging our state legislators, and we need your support to do that, because the death knell for this project is going, and this is regarding the biomass, the death knell is going to be their funding. They will not build this. Palmer Renewable Energy has no interest in building this on their own dime. They want this because they are going to take taxpayer dollars to fund their profitable project. We need you, the City Council. We need everybody to reach out to our legislators. I believe Senator Adam Gomez has a bill right now to try to cease in that funding. We need you to reach out to all of the legislators, not just the ones in your particular area or ward. We need all the people, legislators in Massachusetts, to recognize that this is not just a Springfield issue. This is an issue for all of Western Mass. All of them, because when the air goes out, as I said so ineloquently many years ago, when an oil tanker makes a mistake and they drop some oil somewhere, and they have ways to try to at least mitigate it. When somebody goes to work and has a bad day at one of these plants and that gets spewed into the air, there's no way to recapture it. And we all suffer from that. So thank you for allowing me to speak on this issue.
Thank you for the question, Jackie. I do just want to start by giving credit to the incumbents of the Springfield City Council. They've been collectively very consistent in their opposition to the biomass plant in East Springfield. I share your concerns. I appreciate Melvin for sharing kind of where we're at the state level. I know one of the issues that Senator Gomez has raised is that plant can be profitable to Palmer Paving if they can take the energy from that plant and sell it to municipal, power plants in and around the area. And I know that one of the goals is to basically say at the state level, that's not a form of clean energy. You do that successfully at the state level, and what you're left with is a wood burning plant that isn't really providing any green energy. Take away that economic incentive, and there's less likelihood that that goes. I applaud a lot of the work that's been done by the City Council to work with outside legal firms to continue to chase this. I'm sorry to see that it's reared its head again. And with the 10 seconds that we have here, I was glad to see Eversource come in August to talk about the proposal. The DPU is going to continue to look at that, and I just think we need to keep up the pressure in the public sphere and let them know, we are an environmental justice community and we have rights.
So I'm the executive director of a statewide coalition, and part of our work is systems change and advocacy. And one thing that I have learned in this role is it takes the voice of all of us to make the change happen. And so I'm going to echo what my colleague said, and sometimes we have to take that trip together to the State House in Boston to let them know that Springfield is here and we are strong and we are together, and we're not going to let anyone come into our community and change it. And we also work in the climate change industry, and so climate justice environmental justice is important to us. So what I've done is I look for grants that can help our community. One of the funding organizations is called Mass CEC, and they have opportunities to build programs to teach our kids about clean and sustainable energy. And I actually brought a program and developed it and designed it and had four cohorts of young people go through it to create clean energy jobs and trades. No, my time is up. I wish I had more, and I would tell you more, but thank you.
Thank you so much for your question. As a city councilor, I really respect and admire everything that the previous city councilors, including Adam Gomez and many on this stage, have done to fight that, the biomass plant in particular. I would join in that fight, whatever's required. I believe that after researching and also trying to reach out to Eversource about the other issue, I believe that it's redundant. I would be against it, and I think that we can figure out other ways to get Eversource what they need and help our community so that we're not suffering from that. 2012 Worthington Street was not long enough ago in terms of gas explosions. I also think that in terms of climate justice and kind of how we're responding as a community, there has been an initiative called Green Springs that has been a few years now that a few community members have really fleshed out what community gardens in parks, vegetables in homes, maybe tax credits for people who have vegetable gardens, things like that would look like. And I'm really invested in getting that out into town halls and talking to people about it.
we don't really have time for more questions. I really want to thank everybody for taking the time to come talk to us, come meet with us. And I'm going to take a brief moment for a shameless plug. If you are sitting in this room and you are not a member of the Forest Park Civic Association, I would like to know why. You're here because you care. That's one place where we can amplify our voices, where we can take concerns that we have. We have a good rapport with our city councilors, with the mayor, with the heads of the various departments. So if you are looking for a way to have your voice heard, to be more active, come join us. We're a good group. We're a neighborly group. We take care of each other. We love each other. So be part of our organization.